Association of University of Kelaniya. The CSSA is one of the most dynamic student bodies in the University of Kelaniya and is the pioneer academic association of the Faculty of Computing and Technology. As per the faculty's vision to become a center of excellence in creating and propagating the knowledge in computing and technology for sustainable development, the CSSA was formed as a student body within enhancing an undergraduate's potential by organizing a wide spectrum of activities and events to help them grow. And before moving on with the session, allow me to introduce our distinguished guests. Graduated from University of Sri Jagadhpura with BSc Honours in Computer Science degree, they are both coding enthusiasts with a passion to explore and discover new technologies in the fields of machine learning and cloud computing. Currently working as software engineers at 99X Technology, they conduct workshops and sessions to share their knowledge with students such as ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Kushan Hansika and Mr. Mahesh Samarsinghe. And if I may add, if you have any questions during the sessions or if there are any clarifications, feel free to put them in the group chat or you can just send them privately to one of our hosts. I'm sure Mr. Kushan and Mr. Mahesh would be happy to answer them for you. And over to you, Mr. Mahesh.
Yes, thank you. Your name was? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
I'm Nisha.
So thank you, Nisha. So hope everyone can see me. Okay, yes. Let me share my screen as well. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? Kushan, can you see my screen?
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay, so hopefully others also can see my screen, right? Guys, we need feedback.
Yes. Don't afraid, please speak.
Yeah, like we have 160 people in here, so we need at least one to speak up and say, at least I can see the screen.
Not from the chat.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes,
Yeah.
good. That's it. Okay, so so good afternoon, everyone. Can I hear good afternoon?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session of Git 101. So I'm Mahesh Samarsinghe, and I'm currently working as a software engineer at 99X Technology. And today we have with me Kushan Hansika. He's also again software engineer at 99X Technology. So so just to get a basic idea on you all, what years are you all in, like the majority? Are you all first year, second year, third year, or final year students? Majority, let's say. Guys, I can't hear you. You need to speak up. Come on.
Seems like everyone is muted and also turned off their cameras.
Yes.
Guys, this should be very interactive. Otherwise, you won't learn. So come on, guys, speak up.
You will have to interact with, like, if not this actually can be a bit like quite boring session. I see that we have some things going in the chat. I'd rather prefer someone to speak up, like turn off their mics and speak up, because I mean, it's good that when we are conducting the session, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and you can even just stop us and ask then and there itself. Actually, we prefer better if you can actually stop us and ask those questions then and there itself and with your mics. But it's okay to stop those in the add those in the chat as well, because when one of us is conducting, the other one will be watching the chat, and we will answer whatever the questions which you have. So other than that, we actually need you all to interact. We actually need you all to speak up, because this is a technical session, and those things actually can be a bit boring if you all are not actually interacting. Okay, so can I hear from you all? So which years are you all from?
Mostly we are second years.
Second years, good. We have one person. You know, and at the end of this session, we are planning to share some gifts as well, right, Kushan? So Unless you all are willing to speak up, maybe we might change our minds. Okay, so you all have to speak up. Okay, so that's it. Okay, then we'll start with the session. And as I told you, told you before, if there is anything, please feel free to stop us and ask those questions. And if not, put them in the chat. Either me or Kushan will be keeping an eye on the chat so that we won't be missing anything. And please feel free to ask anything then and there itself. And because if not, this might become a bit boring to you all. Because if you all are just listening and not doing anything at all, it might be okay. So okay, then let's start. So we'll go ahead. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this would be the agenda for today's session. So first of all, I'll be starting with the introduction on what is Git and why we need it and all. And then we will move ahead with the hands-on session, and which will be conducted by both me and Kushan. Actually, Kushan will take the responsibility, and I'll be helping him with that. And then we'll give you all a brief introduction to what is open source and why should we contribute to that. Then later on, we have the quiz where you can actually win some awards, win some actually gift packs. Let's say. Okay. Moving ahead. So first of all, I need you all to understand before going ahead to Git, what is open source softwares and what is closed source softwares, and you will realize why we are talking about this from the beginning before we end this session. So what is open source software? So basically, open source software is software with source code that anyone can inspect, modify, and enhance. So basically, it's software which is created by community, from the community to the community. So there's a huge crowd, huge community who are inspecting that code, who are modifying that code, who are enhancing that code. So the advantages of that is a lot of people actually reviewing that, going through that, and also it's most of the time those are up to date because it's from the community to the community, and whenever there's a need in the community will get together and implement those things. And about closed source software, actually closed source software is software where only a single person, a team, or an organization can only see this source code and edit it, inspect it, and enhance it. So we don't have actually access to the source code. Only thing which we can do is, let's say we have some requirement, we think that this should be there, and a new feature should be there. Then only thing which we can do is actually we can ask them, we can send a request to the organization, the team, or the person that we need this feature, and hoping that they will include that in their roadmap as well. So going forward, guys, and also I should mention that in case if you all are not hearing, if I'm breaking up with with my connection, with connection issues, please let me know because we can do something about that. Okay, because I can repeat it. No, there's no issue. Okay, so so talking about this open source and commercial softwares, comparing those two, when we are looking at the advantages of these open source softwares, one thing is in commercial softwares, we have this problem called vendor locking, because when we buy a software from a certain company, when we buy a certain commercial application, we are locked with that vendor for services, let's say for features, for support, for anything. We have to go back to that specific vendor. And in a case where that vendor is not able to, let's say, maintain their business, in a case where they have to shut down, whatever the case that is, then we'll be in huge trouble, because we will be locked into that vendor, because there will be not many cases where others can support for it. And the market adjustment problem. Now, we all know the tech market nowadays that is changing rapidly, where we say that the lifetime of a certain technology would be 2 to 3 years maximum. So we know the market is adjusting very rapidly. So it's up to the business to keep up with that. If the business is not able to keep up with that, or let's say the business got acquired by another company, Then there will be delays in services. There will be many other problems as well. And if we are stuck with the commercial software, we might be in trouble on how to get service, how to get support, how to get new features, updates to our softwares. But when it comes to open source softwares, the advantage is these softwares, they are maintained by the community. So there's a huge community. It's not a responsibility of a single person. Therefore, there are many people to look after that. And also, when the market is changing, when the need is changing, like the users, the developers, us would be the people who would first feel that we need this feature, we need this new trend to be included in this software. So we will be including that in, we'll be implementing those in our open source software as well. So another advantage which you have in this open source software is that they are stable, high quality, scalable, and future-proof. Why we are saying that is because, as I told you before, this open source software, they are from the community to the community. So there are so many people to look into your code, to review your code. So and there are so many people actually using those softwares as well. So there is no better way to test it rather than actually trying it. So those softwares, they are highly stable because they have been tested in production so much better than the commercial applications, and high quality because there are so many people reviewing your code, reviewing of features, going through involving in the ideation process and everything. Uh, and they are scalable and future-proof because, as I mentioned y'all before, the new trends, the new features, everything, the community will be the first people to feel it. Community will be the one who are creating those. So those will be included in this open source software as well. And of course, they are significantly cheaper than commercial software because most of the times in these open source softwares, people are working for free most of the time. And even though we have to pay, that would be much less compared to commercial software. So going forward, yeah, okay. Going forward now, in not so long ago, in a galaxy close by, this is something which happened between two people. So this one person is coming and saying, looks sad, and the other person asking what's up, and his answer is that he was writing a manuscript, and he has lost a page. He has accidentally deleted a page of his manuscript, and the other person is asking whether he had that under something called version control. So what is actually version control? Um, so as an example of version control, what you can do is, let's say you are writing an assessment, and today you are writing one page of it, and you write that and you upload that to Google Drive so that you can continue that tomorrow as well. So that would be, let's say that would be your version 0.1. Then tomorrow you will download that again, and then you will write 2 more pages. So you will write 2 more pages, and then again upload that back to Google Drive, and that would be your version 0.2. Like this, you can continue working on this. The advantage of this is, like, let's say whatever you write today, maybe you lost it, or maybe you're not satisfied with it, and you need to start it from wherever you stopped yesterday. The advantage is now wherever you stopped yesterday in your Google Drive, named with, let's say, version 0.2. You just have to download it and continue from there itself. So that is actually the advantage of having like controlling your versions, having version control in whatever you do. But what is actually version control system? So looking at that, a version control system is something which let you keep track of your progress in centralized manner. It would be in a central location where you can actually access it. Let's say you have other teams, uh, you have another person, you have a whole team working on it. Then all of these people can actually go into this central location where you have your work, and they all can take that update. Like whenever you have an update, you will upload that in that central repository, we'll say, and everyone can contribute to that without an issue. So this is actually the reason why we are using a version controlling system, so that we have our versions under control. We can look into wherever we stopped yesterday or day before. And the other thing is, it allows us to work in parallel without coordination, because I don't have because now let's say me and Kujan is working on a single project, and we are working on the same file, and at the end of the day, when we are about to do the release, now I have to go back and talk to Kushan. Kushan, I have edited this. What have you done? So now we have to again go through both the code and code or whatever it is, and we'll have to sync everything and make sure that everything is working, and both our changes are included in the same place. I mean, like both our changes are included in that code, and we are not missing anything. But now when we have this version control, now I don't have to go and talk to Kushan. Whenever I'm done, I can just put that into the central repository which we have. And whenever Kushan is done with his work, he can take my code, he can take whatever my work is, and he can just update it. So this is the reason why we are using version control systems and the advantage of it. And also, guys, I forgot to mention that are you all familiar with us conducting this in English? Actually, like we have to conduct this in English, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask them even in Sinhala. That is not an issue. We can actually help that. We can actually help you all. The language should not be an issue to learn. Okay. And also, if I'm talking too fast, please let me know as well. Okay. Okay. So we'll continue then. Okay. So now when it comes to this version control systems, there are mainly two types of version control systems. One is centralized version control systems, and the other one is distributed version control systems. So when it comes to this centralized version control systems, these repositories, they are located in one place, and they provide access to many clients. So let's say I'm one of the clients who are working, clients in the instance, like my workstation, my PC is a client which is working on this repository. So what I will do is I will we have a message in no audio. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, no, I just got a message
Yeah.
in no audio. That's why I was wondering. Okay, then fine. Yeah, cool. Okay, so Shiraz Mohammed, if you can't hear me, let us know. Let's see if that's a problem with on our side, on my side, or maybe we can figure something out. Okay, cool. Okay, so this centralized version control systems. So basically, now let's say my PC is like I'm going to contribute to one of these centralized version control systems. So what I'm going to do is I will have to connect to this repository. In that case, sorry about that. In that case, I will have to download a copy from the repository. Then I will update. I will add the update whatever I'm going to work on it. Then I will again push that back to the repository, and there will be multiple clients working on the same repository. So an example for this would be SVN. The Subversion, Apache Subversion. Some of you all might have heard of it. Now they are like not that much popular. The Subversion tools, but still they exist because that's where we actually started. So the other one is other one is the distributed version control systems. So in distributed version control system, all of the users who are working on that repository, they have the central repository as well as a local copy of the same repository in their workstations. So they have their work copy, and they have their local copy of the repository. Actually, they have their working copy, their local copy of the repository, and also the central repository. So the actual advantage of this is when we are working between the working copy and the local repository, we can actually work without an internet connection. But when it comes to the centralized version, we actually need to have a internet connection all the time. Whenever we are taking those updates, we need to have that. So that's one advantage in here, and also a disadvantage which we have in here is, now let's say the central repository which we have is, let's say 3 or 4 GB. Then we will be maintaining a 4 GB local repository in our machine as well. So that is one disadvantage in here. So and example for these distributed version control systems would be Git, which we are going to talk about today. So if someone asks from you all what is better, Git, I mean the distributed version control systems, or centralized version control systems? There's no actual answer for that because sure. If someone asks what is better, distributed version control systems or centralized version control systems, there's no proper answer for that. Because there are pros and cons in both of these systems, and it depends on the scenario. Actually, now these distributed version control systems are much more popular than centralized version control systems, because mainly we don't need one thing is because we don't need a connection to work with the local repository. Therefore, it's much faster to work. Uh, because of that, it's a bit more popular, and we don't have much centralized version control systems using in the industry now. I don't think it's being used at the moment. I mean, there can be such companies, but at least not in Linux. Okay, so next we need to understand. Now we know what kind of a version control system Git is. Now it's important to understand what is the difference between Git and GitHub. What is Git? What is GitHub? I mean, both of those words has Git in it. So what it actually is? So basically, Git is like the service, and GitHub is the service provider. It's something like that. So Git you have installed locally, because that would be your version controlling system, and GitHub, it's hosted in the cloud. So basically GitHub is providing you the space to have your centralized repository, and Git is how you control your versions by using that space provided by GitHub in the cloud. So Git is first released in 2005, and GitHub launched in 2008. And Git, it's maintained by Linux Foundation, and GitHub now it's maintained by Microsoft, since it was purchased by Microsoft. And Git, that is focused on version control and code sharing, and GitHub, it's focused on centralized source code hosting. As I mentioned before, Git is the version control system. GitHub is the hosting provider where we can actually host our code, where we can actually store our code. And Git, that is a primary command line tool, and GitHub, it's administered through the web. And Git, it provides a desktop interface named Git UI, and a desktop interface named GitHub Desktop. We have that in GitHub. And in Git, you don't have any user management features, but in GitHub, there are built-in user management system to decide so that you can decide who can actually access your code, access your central repository. And then for Git, there's minimal external tool configuration features. And for GitHub, there's an active marketplace for tool integration you can use without much hassle, so that you don't have to build everything from the scratch. And for Git, there are other competitors, Mercurial, Subversion. Subversion is a centralized version control system, and there's IBM, Rational Team Consult, and Clearlist. These are some examples, some competitors which Git has. And GitHub, it has Atlassian, Bitbucket, GitLab, and there are several others as well. And Git, that is open source license, and GitHub, it has a free tier, and there's an enterprise version as well, where you can actually pay and use. So now let's look into what actually
What
GitHub
are the limitations
does.
of the GitHub free tier?
GitHub free tier, now actually there's no, I mean, if you are working in a university project, actually if you are using that in an enterprise software, because now in a free tier you have I think you have unlimited private repositories, unlimited public repositories, and unlimited collaborators as well, right, Kushan? We have unlimited collaborators as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the limitations which we have is in the enterprise version, we can have we can actually draft PRs. Now there's something called pull request. Maybe some of you all already know. If not, at the end of this session, you all will know what is a pull request. So in an enterprise, in a paid version, you can have this draft PRs, but in GitHub free tier, you cannot have these draft PRs. And the other thing is, another thing is in the enterprise version, you can have delete protection to a certain branch. Let's say now, if you already doesn't know about GitHub or Git, you might not understand this, but just keep these words in your mind, and before we complete the session, you will understand what I actually said. So there are some in GitHub paid versions where we have protection for some branches. Let's say you have a master branch, and you can add delete protection to that, so that no user will accidentally delete your master branch. That is something which you can do in your enterprise version, but you does not have that in the free tier. And also there are storage limitations. I think the free tier has only up to until up to 10 GB, and the enterprise version has much more than that. But 10 GB of code is not something which you will have. I don't think you will have, because as I can remember, even the whole Linux repository has only 2 GB of code, and we are not going to write source code, that big. So that shouldn't even be a problem. And there's a limit to the data transfers as well. But that is also not something which you need to think about, because we will not hit those limits. So you don't have to think about that. Actually, since Microsoft purchased it, they have actually given added so many things into the free tier. So it's, unless you are running a huge business, I don't think there's actually a need to go to the enterprise version, as I see it. But others might disagree. So before coming into this, let me speak a little bit about this, since you all are. Did I answer your question? Who it is? I couldn't get your name.
Yes, you answered it. Thank you.
Did I answer your question? Is it right?
Yeah,
All right.
you answered it.
Good. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So from there I will mention this one as well. That in GitHub, they have this student developer pack where they are offering so many things for university students. All you have to do is just register with your university emails, and these are just 9 services which I added in here. You can actually go to this link and see there are actually 105 services offering their premium services, and it's renewing, as I can remember. And these are just 9 which I picked from there. There's actually 105, and because there's no better way to learn than actually coding and trying out all those things. So you have actually 105 services. Go and try those out. Just go to GitHub and register with your university email. That's all you need to. Do. So make sure you do that, because there are so many things which you can do with all these services. Okay, so back to Git, and now what does actually Git do? Good. And Kushan have added that in the chat, so you can take that from the chat. If not, you can take this from the slides as well later on. So now, what does Git do? Basically, what Git does is, in Git, you have basically your working directory where you're actually coding, and then you have your staging area where, once you have done the code, you are putting that into now. In this case, now we have a typewriter where you actually work. Then once you have finished a page, you will put that into a draft, into a Manila folder where you just keep your drafts. That's yeah, the staging area is something similar to that. And then finally, you have the repository where you have the final draft where you will store whatever you have completed. So it's same in Git, and we will look into this more in the hands-on session. In session, in Git, we have this working directory where we actually code. Then we have our staging area where we say that we are done with our work, we are done with working in this, and this is ready to be pushed into the repository. So that would be the staging area and intermediate stage. Then intermediate stage. Then we have the repository where we actually put that code into the centralized repository where others also can access, others also can get these updates. Okay, so hands-on session, over to you, Kushan. You can take it up from here.
Okay, guys. So I think everyone learned about actually what's the difference between basically what the difference between Git and GitHub, right? So basically we are in the university also we think that Git is GitHub. The GitHub is everything, but GitHub is only a hosting service. The basic concept is the Git. So actually that's the basic learning you should do in this session, because when someone asked about the difference between Git and GitHub, university student, as a university student, you must know what the difference. So I think Mahesh explained well about this. And okay, let's go into our hands-on session and let's start training. So I will share my screen.
Yes, so I should mention before Kushan start, guys, please feel free to ask any questions which you have then and there itself. You don't have to keep those questions until the end. Ask those questions. We will answer. We are ready to answer any of those. Don't keep any doubts until the end. Ask those questions then and there itself. We will answer those, and so that you all can get a better experience out of this session. Yeah,
Yes.
Kushan, over to you.
Yes, and the language is not a problem. So please ask. Single is also okay. Don't be afraid. And if any question, anything you want to know, please ask in the chat, or you can just unmute and ask from me. So let's start the basics hands-on session. So in the hands-on session, for this to continue this session, we need two things. First, actually, you need to install Git in your system, and Visual Studio Code is some code editor. You all know about some. Maybe you using this Notepad. So this Visual Studio Code is something better than Notepad, but or like a code text editor. So I think everyone has Git. If not, I will share the links in the chat, so you can install these two things in your system now. So give me a minute. Okay. Okay, I will share the two things. So basically, you need to install the Git bash to continue the session, and I share the link in the chat. If you don't have Git installed in your system, please go there, and you can see that there are in your as your operating system, you can choose what to install. For Windows users, please install Windows, and the Mac users install Mac. So this is not a big package, so few MBs. So you can install it now if you don't have it. So after install that, so please make sure you also install this code also. This is not a
Share the link.
yeah, so sorry. Yeah, yes, my shared it. This is not mandatory, but I will show some graphical view in the middle of this session using this Visual Studio Code. Yeah. So yeah, as Maya said previously, you know now how Git works. Maya already explained in his last slide. I will explain more. So in Git works like there are three architecture. So first one is we have a local working directory, and this is where we everything do every changes for ourselves. So after we did the changes, it go into this staging index. I will explain in the going on. So let's say we have a folder like this, and let's create a folder. I will use the command lines, but it's not mandatory. You can use the just right click the and got a new folder, but I'm using the command line, so you can better. So you can learn some few commands also other than the Git commands, how to use the command line also. So try with me. If there is any question, please ask in chat or ask from me. So let's see the folders. So I'm going to make a new folder in this in here. Let's say 101. Yes. So it's a simple command. Make it mkdir make directory. So you can see that now we have a folder called git 101. So I'm going to inside this folder. Yeah, I'm now inside this folder. So how we gonna say to git, please, I need to version, I need to control versions in this folder because git doesn't know. Okay, font size bigger. That's the issue. So you can't.
Meanwhile,
Okay.
until that question, there's a question: what is the difference between GitHub and GitLab? GitHub, GitLab, both of those are hosting providers, so both serve the same purpose. GitHub is the one managed by Microsoft, GitLab by a different company. So there's the only difference between those are actually two companies. Other than that, they provide the same service. They actually provide the space, the hosting space for that. Yeah, that's basically. Sorry, Krishan. Yeah, continue.
Okay. Yeah. Other than the Git, the every service are hosting services that you
Yes.
can keep this entry repositories. So yeah, get back to this session. Get back to work. So we now inside this Git 101. So now we need to tell Git. I need to version control this folder. I need to version control everything in this folder. But before that, I need to mention if you just install the Git bash, if you just install the Git bash in your system, there are some things you firstly initialize. So there is Git command called Git config. I will show you Git config data list. So here you can see a list and there are so many properties there. You don't want to know what all this, but you can see that there is called username, user.name and user.email. So this is some important two things because in after some time we learn about something called Git commit. So we use this name and email to know who did this change. So better you can if there is nothing in this, you can change this to your name and you can just change your mail. So how are we gonna do that? So I will show you. So first we are gonna so we need to change our name. So how are we going to change our name? We write git config dash dash global. This global means uh, this change will affect to every versioning control in your system. So everything you control within Git, these changes will be applied, and they are gonna use this name and email for your logs. So local user dot name and give your name. Let's say I will give Kushan. So after we ran again this config list, you can see that this user dot name changed to the Kushan. So like that, you can change your name and email. So this is the first thing you must done after you install the Git in first time. Okay. So hope everyone can try out this. And yeah, let's go. So the first command we are gonna learn today, we learn today is config. But when we are going to start with Git versioning, the first command we want is Git Init. This is the first thing we want. So what is Git Init? So let's say what's in this folder. You can see this folder is empty, right? There is nothing in this folder. So if I show a graphical view also, this is the 101 folder. There is nothing. but let's say there is any hidden files there. So I will show you in the graphical view. So yeah, there's no hidden files also. Okay. So git init is the main command. We tell git please start version control in this folder. So let's start this. The first command you learn today is git init. So you can see that this says that initialized empty git repository. So and then we going to see what are the folders inside there. You can see that there is no folders, right? No folders here. But when we go to the hidden files, you can see that there is a hidden folder called .git. So this is the most important folder because now we have only a local repository for Git. So now we locally introduce this folder to Git, track the changes and version control this. So every changes, every history is in this Git folder. So yeah, so everything we do, every changes we do, it tracks and it storing this side in the git folder. So that's why this is hidden, because if you accidentally delete it, the every history, everything, every history you have will be gone. You can't get that again, because now we have only this history in our locally. So that's why it's come in hidden folder, because normally the hidden folders we accidentally not delete. So yeah, so that's the first command. So what git init is the initialize this folder to track and the version control this folder. Yeah. Okay. If you need some time to download Git and install your system, or who need some time to install the Git, or everyone already installed it?
And just to mention, like you don't have to have a Visual Studio. That is optional. You can just continue with Notepad or something, but you must have. But you need to have Git.
Yeah. The first thing you must have is a Git. So if you don't have, please install it and let me know, so I can wait a little bit until you install it into your system, because without that you can't go with me. Okay. Okay. These are very short commands. That's why I didn't share with you that, because you can see that this you can memorize these commands easily. Very short ones. Every command start with git, and others are very short ones.
Yes, you can copy paste, but you have to use the right. You try with the right mouse button.
Yeah,
it should paste it.
I will show you one. Let's say I will copy this. Control C. So don't. That's the one, and you can right click and paste.
And also you can use shift insert. I guess I can remember.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but I think you can use shift insert as well.
Yes, it also working. Shift plus insert button. You can copy by Control plus C, and you can paste here using shift plus insert button, or right click and paste. You can use anything. Okay. I hope that everyone installed Git. Guys, please speak, because you must do with me this to practice. If not, this is not like a lecture. You will just look at these slides and everything I'm doing, but you won't be memorized. So if you want to practice this, if you want to memorize this command, you need to do. Yes.
So is everyone done installing this? Is there anyone who needs more time? Please let us know.
Yes. Anyone?
it's okay. Feel free to just let us know if you need some more time, because it's important that you keep up with the session.
Okay. Hope,
We can continue.
yeah, I hope everyone has. So okay, I think everyone is in here. You all already use the git init command and initialize your git repository. Okay, so now you have a git repository which will track all your changes and do a version controlling. So let's start. So let's say I am going to create new text document. I'm using this nano command here, but you can just go to the folder and right click and add new text document. So you can use this graphical view also, but try to do it the command line just for today at least. It's fun. So I'm using nano. I mean, let's say I have this file called thesis.txt. So I'm going to write a thesis now. So how we can't write a thesis by one day, right? A few hours. We will write thesis along at least 1 to 2 months, and every day we update it. Every day we change some things inside there. But if sometime we want to view what the changes we did, we don't have a method if there is no git. So I hope everyone create a text file. So let's say I heading a heading called is step 1. Okay. Okay. So how we save it is, you can see that this mark is saying that control button. So if you want to save, you have to press Control plus O. So when you click Control plus O, it will ask file name to write. And I click when I press Enter, this will save. And you can press the Control plus X to exit from this text editor. This is a command line text editor. You can use the notepad or something in your system. So I will exit. So now I have a file, text file called thesis. Okay. So this can be anything. For this session, I will use this. Okay, you can you can use the cd commands. So to go back a folder, you can see cd double dot. So now you can see that now you're in main root folder. That is the previous folder. To go to the previous folder, you can use cd space double dot and go to inside a folder. Can just call cd and folder name. Just enter some first characters of the folder and press tab. It will complete your folder name and it will suggest the folder names. Okay. Yeah, I hope you got the answer. And now I have the thesis.txt file. And so the next command is the mostly the one is we using mostly git status. What is this git status means? So this git status indicate us what are the changes in this repository and what are the changes that not tracking likewise. So you can see that there is no commit set. That means we nothing saved it. We only add a text file. That's all. And you can see that there is called Git. Git says that there is a file that Git has never seen. This untracked files mean that we want to tell Git add this file to his version control. It's version control. So that is why this showing as red. So and that's called untracked files. So what we should do is, so now we in here working directory. Now we add a file. and Git says that there is a untracked file. So how we have okay. So the next step is now we add to the step called stage, Git stage, where we call this stage step. So how we gonna do that is we have a command called git add. Now we call now we say git to add this file to this staging. So you can see that there's a call command git add. So every time we do a change, we need to add to that to the stage. So that's a basic concept. So we call git add, and we can say add this is dot text. So now this file is added to the staging. Now we check with the status command what happened, and you can see that now this previous message was changed to, now previous was that untracked files. Now it says that changes to be committed, and there is a now new file which is called this is text. Okay, now this filing is stage step. So what should we do now? Now we should commit this to save this version in this Git repository. So what we do is we first initialize the Git repository and added a file and did some changes inside the file. After that, we use git add command to add this to staging. And after that, now we add this file to the staging, and now we need to commit this file. So this git status is command we using to see what is going on here. So in this git add, after git add, the next phase is changes to be committed. Now we need to commit these changes. So what is the commit? So how we going to do that? We write git commit. Okay, now you can see this comes as some editor and say please enter the commit message for your changes. Okay, so changes to be committed, and this is the this is some part. This is a message you write what you did. So in here you can type. So before type, we have to enter the edit mode. How we going to do that? We press I button. That is the insert mode. You can see that change the insert mode. So now we can type anything. So this commit message. So everyone need to write a commit message. You can write commit message in any way you like, but there are some good ways, good practices when we writing a good commit message, because this is the message you will see in let's say you take some time in after a week you come to this repository and you need to know what are the changes you previously done. So this commit message are you gonna the thing you gonna read. So this commit message is need to explain the changes well. So I will taught you how to write a good commit message later. First I will write this commit message. I add. I mean change that I'm add. This is dot text. Okay. So now we need to save this. How we gonna save is press shift plus colon button. Sorry. Press exe button first, escape button to exit from the insert mode. then press shift plus colon button. Then you can see it comes like this. And now we tell write this message and quick from this window. My screen is too small. Okay, it changes back. Sorry. Okay, now you can see that. Now you can see this clearly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. And we tell this to write this message and quick from this window. Okay, now you see that it said that one file change, two insertions. We inserted 2 lines. So let's say git status. Use git status command to every time to see what is going on. If we commit and if we stage, you can confirm that by using this git status command. Yeah, this command now says nothing to commit, working tree is clean. This working tree is clean means there is nothing to add. There is nothing to add to the stage area, or there is nothing to commit. So there is no changes in your repository. That is calling this working tree is clean. What did you do after shift plus colon? Shift plus colon, not colon. I will show. I will send you. It is shift plus, not semicolon. It's colon. Shift colon. So after that, write W and Q. W means write, Q means quick. So it will save this commit message and quick from that window. Okay. Are you all good? So everyone is all good so far? Or any questions, anything?
If there is anyone who could not keep up with the session, please let us know. We can guide you. We can help you all to get up to the speed.
Yes, because these are the basic commands we use every time.
Yes, and like we will be continuing with this as well. So please make sure that let us know. Okay?
Yes, this git config is very rarely used. We use this first time initialized, or if anytime we need to change something. And this git init command only we use in the initialized git repository. So these two are not using frequently, but this git status, git add, and git commit, these are the 3 things we using frequently.
Kushan, we have a question.
Can you do another commit? Yes, I will show another commit. So I will show you it. I will show another round. For that, need to increase font size. No, I will tell you. So okay. So one is ask git add. What is this purpose? Can please again? Can we go without this command? We cannot go with git add command. So in here, I show this basic 3-tree architecture, how Git works. What we do is we work in this working directory and we do changes. But before we save this copy, save these changes, we need to add this to the Git index, Git stage. There is where Git is using some indexing called before they save in the changes, it do some indexing, that some advanced concept. So do that, we need to add this to the index, this stage. So that's why we use git add. So, and after that, we by commit message, we save that version in Git repository. So this is only for now, this is only in the local repository. So this now only you have a local copy. So everything relies on that .git hidden folder. Okay. So I will show you again the commit. Before that, I will show. another command, and after that I will show again how to commit. So now we now we should have a way to view what are the commits, what are the previous works.
Kushan, maybe we need to increase the font sizes.
Okay, every time it changes back to the steady story. Okay, and this is called Git Log. So when you call Git Log, it's list down the all logs, all commits previously committed. So now we have only one commit. This is the first commit. So what we did is we add this is txt, and this is, I said that the details author Kushan, this is the username and this is the email in my git config. So that's why I said that's something you need to change. So you have all the description. This change is done by this author, and this is the commit. So now we have only one commit, right? So I'm going to do another change to this thesis file. So I'm opening this thesis text again. Now this is the file. Okay, I'm going to add another chapter, chapter 2. Right? So I'm going to save it, Ctrl+O, and I will exit this from Ctrl+X. Let's say Git status. Yes, I will show example from the text editor as well. For now, use this command line. So you can see that modified. So by previous from the previous commit, Git started to track this thesis.txt file. So now it's tracking. Now it says that we modified this thesis.txt file. So it's right? Yeah, we modified the thesis.txt file. So next page. Now we in the working directory, right? Now we did the change. So what we want to do now is we need to add that to the stage. So how we add stage is git add. You can use this file name, or if you let's say you have more than lot of file changes, this is only one file. But if you want to add all those to the stage, you can just use these git add dot add git add space dot. This will add all the untracked files, all the files to the staging. So now we use git status. You can see that now it's green. That green means it's in the staging. So next, what is the next pass? After git add, we use through git commit. Git commit. Okay. So this is the command line editor. So I press I to start inserting this, editing this, and I'm adding the git commit message. Update. I update. This is, and I'm saying that at second chapter. Yes, I will tell you how to do this, how to cancel file from staging. First do this. So add second chapter. So I'm press escape button for exit from the insert mode, and now I press shift plus colon and save this. So I do the commit. Now let's see the git log. Yeah, you can see that there is two commits now. One is this, one is this. So I think you understand this process. This is very easy. Just git add and Git Commit. Only 2 commands. We use Git Status to view this status. Okay. So I said that Git commit is very important. So you can see that this is one commit message. This is very too long commit message. Don't write like this. But I'm showing this as well structured. So better commit message. I introduce some tips to write how to write better commit message. So you can see that the first line we call is the subject line. So this is the subject line. After that, this is the body. So we first thing is we need to separate subject from body with blank line. So every time we write a commit, we write the first subject line. We tell that what did briefly, and we keep a space, new line, and then we write the body where we describe the how we did and what we did and how we describe our change. So I always try to limit the subject line to 50 characters. So don't write too long subject line. Don't write subject as body. So subject should be very short and very simply. So third one is the capitalize the subject line. That means always start the first letter start with the capital letter in the subject line. So if we can see the simplify, it start with capital. So let's start with capital. The first letter capital. If we say update thesis, use U capital. This is not rules, but I said this is some tips to good commit message. And do not end subject line with period. End of the subject line, don't add full stop. And this fourth one is fifth one is use the imperative mode in subject line. I will explain this in next slide. And this is the wrapped body at 72 characters, and also keep the body also to limited characters. Don't write too long body, and use the body to explain what, why, was, how. Why we did the change, what the change, and how we did the change. You can explain. So this line of this type of commit we write for very long changes. Okay. So for very small changes, we can just write the subject. We don't want a body. We want a body. If it's a big change, we can describe the change in the body. So you can see that a proper formed git commit subject line should always be able to complete file intended. So I introduce some sentence to check your commit message is good. So example.
Excuse me.
Hello.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, ask.
How does Git know when a file has been modified? Does it check the file hash?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Yeah. How does Git know when a file has been modified? Does it check the file hash?
Yes, by using the file hash. So
I understand.
we add when we create a new file, it shows you can remember that it shows as untracked file. For Git is not tracking that file, but we using the git add command, we add that to the Git tracking. So every time we do the commit, it use the indexing line has these changes, and after that we do the changes, it compare that with the previous commit. So that's how it know we did these changes to the file.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And so for example, I have a commit message that update getting started documentation. So I'm checking this with this sentence. So always git commit message. Well, if we say if applied this commit will do this change. That's how we, so Git always read this. So if applied, this commit will update get it started documentation. That looks good. Let's see this message. If applied, this commit message, this commit will fixed bug with y. We don't use this past tense. This not this is meaningless. So don't use past tense. So it always good to use like this. Update. You can say that fix bug with by, or you can say fix this bug, or update add. You can use these words. So this is some tips you can use. This is not rules, but you can use these tips to enhance your commit message. That looks good. Okay, so I show you how to write a commit message. So I'm going again here, and so do another change. No, this is, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to do another change. So I added this line, and I will save this status. So now we know this file has modified. Let's say we want to see what we modified. So we are going to use this command called git diff. You can just write git diff this file. So git diff means it compare these changes with your previous commit. So these commit messages use the completed work previously. So now you did a change, and you can see that by using this git diff command. So you can see that it's called this. We added this screen one is add one. So we add this chapter 3. Okay, so it says that I added this chapter 3 new line and new 2 lines, this new line and this chapter 3 line. So we using this git diff command to check what the changes we did. Okay, so okay, I know. Then I'm going to add this change to stage. I'm just using the period. Oops. Git. Okay. So I'm going to now commit this change. So you always don't want to go this editor. You can go to this editor by this git commit and press enter. And if you have to write a long commit like subject with a body, but if it's a simple change, you can just write the commit message here, the subject line, git commit. We using git commit -m and quotations. We write update, or I just say add chapter 3. So this is only subject. So by this one line, we can commit this change. If you have a body, you need to go to this editor by using git commit, only the git commit. So I commit this. I want to check Git status, everything okay? Yes, working pretty clean. And I'm using Git Lock now. Yeah. So you can see that I add chapter 3. Now we have 3 commits. So now I think I hope you all understood the process. It's very simple. You do a change, you add that to stage, and you commit it. Okay.
I have another question.
Okay. Ask.
Yeah. Why do we use a add stage? Why can't we directly git commit
Why we use a
add stage? Add git add.
yeah. because as I previously I once said, Git don't before we do the commit, we need to there is a process called this index in the Git, some advanced concept. So we need tell the Git, yeah, I am adding this to stage, so I'm ready to commit. Before you commit, you need to ready for that. You need ready those changes to commit. So in the staging, you means that, so it by comparing those changes, it will create some index that has to commit. So we can't commit in Git, we can't commit those don't in the staging. So that's why this is the architecture of this.
Actually, it's basically like a
Oh,
one way of saying is like these are the files which I need to add to the repository, because like
yes,
there can be 10 files which you have changed, but you don't need to add all of those 10 files to the repository. Now, if you don't have a staging area, then you will be committing everything. Okay, so
yes,
you have a staging area. You're selecting that these are the files I'm going to update. These are the files I'm going to put to the repository, and I will be staging those so that those will be indexed. Then I will be committing. Then those index will be updated with the repository.
I
uh,
understand. Thank you.
got to answer.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why. Okay, so now we know. So I think you solved it. So now you know Git until this Git Diff. So until here, if you have any question, you can ask, please. If anything you want to know, or you know thing you didn't understand, can ask now. Okay. So now we use this command line. Okay. I will show this in the code too, graphical view too. It's folder.
Can you increase the font size, please?
No, I will use the code. Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, give me a minute.
Meanwhile, if there is anything you need to clarify, please feel free to ask or put that in the chat. Okay.
Okay, hope you see this. You can or can read this.
Kushan, we'll just increase the font sizes. Maybe we can zoom it.
Okay,
I think that's good.
that's good. Okay, okay. So we always don't need to use the command line. For easy, we use this graphical interface. So this is one file. So okay, so one ask question how to work with more than one file. So let's say, so now we have this is .text file. I'm going to add another file. Let's say, okay, so now I add another file, help text. Let's say I'm adding some dummy words, help. Okay, and I'm saving this. Okay, in the Visual Studio Code, you
Excuse
can.
me.
Yes.
Yeah, sir. Can I do the basic configuration in the Visual Studio Code or
Uh,
always?
you, yeah, you can. Basic configuration means git config, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. For you can use this terminal also to use those commands to change your username and email.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so in here, Git in Visual Studio Code, you can see this icon. This is where the Git this version control shows up, and you can see that it says that changes. So new file, there is a file called help.txt because we add new file. So I'm going to do a change for this also. This is file also. And I'm saving this. Okay, now it seems that this file add and this file modified. So by clicking this, it compare with the previous one. So this is like Git Diff. Okay, so we previously used the command line Git Diff to compare the changes. But in this here, we can just click here and we can see that what are changes. In here it says that we add this new line for this. It says that we add this line. So Git like this is like Git Diff. This is always comparing with previous commit. So what I can do now? We did the changes. Now we add that to the stage. Okay, these are changes. We can add that changes to the stage by using this plus mark stage command. That's why we have a staging area. So we only add this file to this stage because I only need to commit this file. I don't want to commit all these files. So I only add this file to stage. Now I write in the commit message here. I said that I add help doc text file. Or you want to add a body to just add a space and write the body. And now you can commit this and it will only commit those who in this stage. I think you saw that. So it didn't commit this thesis file. The thesis file changes are still here. It don't commit. So now I'm going to commit this. And I will commit this. Okay. So this is the extent is this user code editor. You can see that this is very simply. But before using that, it's good to try out with command line because then you know the idea, basic idea. So now we know until here, until Git Diff. So what is those Git checkout and Git reset means? So uh, when we see the Git log here, and we have another Git log extension called -- one line. This is only showing the subject lines. So if there are so many Git commit messages, we can use this -- one line to see only subject lines. So this is the hash. We using this to we using these to do this Git checkout and Git reset once. Let's say I'm I did some changes, but I need to before that we will do the reset one. So I'm doing some changes.
Kushan, the font size.
I'm going to nano. Okay, I did the changes. Git status, it's okay. I'm looking Git diff. What are the changes? Okay, let's say this is this. If we want to revert these changes, in here it's very simple. We can just remove the one line. But if we do multiple changes for multiple files, and we want to go to the previous commit, we want to undo all the changes, and I'm going to the last successfully changed commit. So how we do that is we using this Git reset -- hard. So this command will point back to the our previously saved commit. This will undo all the changes. So after I'm doing this, So it says that head is now at this commit. So if we see the Git status, you can see that there is no changes. The changes we did is is not here. So we by using this Git reset command, we can undo the changes. For one file, we can do by manually, but if we have more changes in more files and we want to go back to the previous commit, we can just use this Git reset command. Okay, and another thing, these commands and this Git checkout. So we can, so we use version controlling because we want to save our previous versions, right? So in here in the Git log, you can see that. So we have multiple commits successfully, multiple versions. So let's say I want to go to this. I want to go to this commit. This here. Uh,
Excuse me.
yes.
Is it possible to undo a reset, a hard reset?
You mean redo? It's not possible. When you undo the changes will be gone because these changes are not in the Git repository also. No, the changes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is no way to go back from a hard reset. So
hard reset.
make sure you know what you're doing if you are going to do a
Yeah.
hard reset.
I understood that. Yes.
So I now in the latest commit, but I want to go to this one commit here. This update is this head is the current version. So head is in here, but I want to go now here. So what I'm going to do is I'm using checkout. Okay, so I'm checkout. So it says this description you detach it. This means I'm now in the head state. So I'm now when I see these files, you can see that this help text file is gone because by in that time in that time I didn't add this help text file. I add the help text file after that. So now I'm in here. In here, when we see this our file, you can see that the chapter 3 is also not there because we added the chapter 3 after that. So using this git checkout, you can go through your commits. If you want to go back more than one commit, you can use this checkout. You can choose the commit message and use the checkout by you can go to the previous version. So this is the one you using to travel using this use your versions, previous versions. Okay. So if you want to go back to your head, you have to check out master. Master is your default branch you now was. So now we you can see that in the git log. So head is now again in this commit. So we using this git checkout to going through this previous versions.
Kushan, the font size.
Font size. Okay. So that's why using git checkout. So I think we go through all these basic commands. So git config and git init, those are the really used one, and git status, git add, git commit. These three are the ones we frequently using. Do a change, add to the staging, and commit to a change. It's very easy. And we're using git log to see our previous commits, and we use git diff to compare one file with previous version, and we use git checkout to going through previous commits, and we use git reset to undo our changes. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, if you have any questions.
How do
Yes.
we exit? How do we exit from the checkout position?
Checkout origin. So when we initialize your repository, it will create a branch as default branch as master. So if you check out, it will go into this detach checkout branch. And if you want to go back to your previous one, you need to use git checkout master. Master is
Okay,
the
thanks.
head. So I'm already in master. So after a few time, you will learn about branching. Then we use the branch name. For here, this branch is master. So we use master to go back to the latest one. Okay. Okay. So if any questions, all good or anything need to clarify? If there's anything, please ask. And these are the basics one. But please remember, this is only the local copy. So only you have a local one for your personal use. So after that, Mahesh will tell you how we add this repository to a GitHub. That means that one of the hosting services. So how we keep this backup.
Yes. Okay, then let me share my screen. Okay, cool. Okay, so are we all clear on whatever we learned so far regarding the basic commands which we learned? Can someone speak up? Are we clear on the basics?
Yeah, clear for now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And if there is any questions, please feel free to ask. Put those in the chat. Kushan is here. I'm here. We'll answer those. Okay. Like I see, it's good that you're all asking questions. Keep it up. Keep this coming. Okay. Okay. So now we learned how to configure this how to configure Git in our local machine. We learned how to add a file, how to commit those files, and now we have all this in. Okay, now we have all this in our working directory and in our local repository. So because as I told you all that Git is a distributed version controlling system. So now we have everything in our local repository. Now the problem is still this is in your own laptop. This is still in your own desktop. Okay, so I cannot access it. I cannot get those updates. And in case if something happens to your laptop, which happens very often when you're actually in university time, uh, so that can actually happen, and then all your changes will be lost because it's just in your laptop and I cannot access it. You have not actually backed it up. So now what we need to learn is, now we need to keep these changes in somewhere where everyone can access, where I can access. We need to have that centralized repository. So now we know there are several services who are providing these hosting services. One is GitHub, which we'll be using today, and we have GitLab, we have Bitbucket, and there are several others. I mean, the most popular ones are those. And I think in Asia there's some service which is supporting those repositories, and in AWS there's a service, and in uh, GCP also there is something, as I can remember. In AWS I know, but I'm not sure about the other things. So anyway, now now what we need to do is, now we need to upload our code into one of these hosting services and make sure that it's back. We have backup our code, and everything is and others also can access this. So now in order to do this, what we need is, we need to have a repository provided by one of these service providers. So today I will be using GitHub. You can use GitLab or any of the other services. So does everyone have GitHub accounts, or have you all created these GitHub accounts? If there's anyone who doesn't have a GitHub account, please raise that in the chat, or just speak up. Unmute your mic and speak up. I can show you how to create a GitHub account as well. That's not a problem. Guys, can we have that in the chat, or speak up, please? Does everyone have GitHub accounts by any chance, or you doesn't have it?
Yes, Gani, if everyone have GitHub account, if,
Please show. Yeah,
we
go,
don't want
go.
to waste time for showing that.
Yeah, sure, no
If
problem.
not, we can show.
Yeah, we will just go ahead. Okay. So first of all, go to github.com. Please, everyone, go ahead and go to github.com. And what you can do is you can sign up, and you need to add a username for this. So my username is Mahesh419, which I created some time back. So you can add something, add whatever the username you want, and the username has to be unique uh, through across all the GitHub accounts. So you will have to spend some time trying to find a proper username. Then you need to use your email address. I suggest you all use your university email address, because then you will have access to that GitHub student developer pack, which is pretty cool. Then add your password as well. Then in order to verify that you're a real person, you will have to resolve this puzzle as well. I'm not going to do that. So just go through these steps and create a GitHub account as soon as possible. Okay. And when you're using them, just a suggestion, like it's okay to use fancy words, but make sure that, but the problem is that you will probably be using this GitHub account later on as well. So just a suggestion, don't use anything which you will regret later on. Ranidu, no, Kushan, can we change the email in the GitHub account? We can, right?
I think we can username.
Yeah,
We only use
I
username.
think we can. I think we can do that.
I will check.
As I can remember, we can do that.
We can do that.
Yeah. But Ranidu, at the moment, I suggest you just keep the current account for this session, and later on you can spend some time and update the email account. Okay. So does anyone needs time to create your GitHub account, or are you all good with that? Anyone needs more time? Anyone needs more time? Shall I continue? Okay, I don't have any objections, so I'll continue maybe. Okay. Okay. So once you have done that, go inside your log into your account. Then in here you will have in the right side corner. You can click that and okay, sorry, not in there. In here now you can in the left corner you can see in with repositories there's something called new. With this you can create a new repository. I'm repeating again. Yeah, yeah. So let me repeat the step. Once you log in, you have this new with repositories. You have this new in here. Click on that. Go inside. Then in here you can create a new repository. Now this repository is where we actually keep our code. This is the central repository which we discussed previously. So this is the hosted one we'll be using. So you can add whatever the repository name which you want. It's fine to use whatever you want, and the repository name also has to be unique throughout all the repositories. And you can choose that to be a public or a private repository. At the moment, I will just add this as a public one. Then you can add a description as well on whatever you need. Like whatever you are going to do, it's good to include description is actually optional, but it's good to have an description as well in here. And readme files, git ignore, choose license, you don't have to click on that. We'll look into those later. Okay, and add those, and you can create a repository. And I actually created a repository previously, so I will be using that one. What is it? So once you have created the repository, you can go inside the repository and you will get a similar view like this. Yours might be in white background, not in background, but still you should see the same thing. And if there is anything, please, and if you need more time, please post that in the chat. We can give you all some time. Is everyone all right? Without using Git, can we directly use GitHub repositories for our work? As I mentioned, as we told you before, Git is the version controlling system. GitHub repository is our hosting service. So whatever we are version controlling using Git in our local machine, we will use GitHub repositories to store those. So Git and GitHub are two different things using for two different purposes. Git is what we are using for version controlling, and GitHub repositories where we actually store that version controlled code. Okay, then I will copy now. Once you are in here, you can copy this clone URL. We call this the clone URL. Click on HTTPS and copy this clone URL. You will need it in future. Okay. Copy. I mean, by clicking this button, you can copy this. Now, once you have it, since you all already have a code, you can just go inside there and open a Git bash from there, and go ahead with me. And I have in here I have created a small node project which doesn't have actually anything. It just have a greet function with a console log saying hello. So let me just. So you don't have to think about this. You don't have to write this code. This is just something which I used for demonstration purposes. You don't. You just have you just have to focus on the Git part of it. Okay. Okay. Now you have the local repository. Now I didn't actually made this a repository. I didn't add Git in here. So let me quickly do that. Now it's I add the Git in it, and whatever. I will add those files. Okay. Maybe I won't add those files now. Okay, now in your own local repositories, you will have add those commits. You have committed those commits. Sorry, add those files and committed those files. Now what you have to do is now we have to upload those files into that repository which we created, right? So now how we are going to do that is now. Wait, can you see my screen? Can you see the font sizes? Is it all good? I guess now you all can see, right? Okay. Okay. Now what we are going to do is now we need to add. We need to add at the remote repository. We need to add the repository which we created to our local repository, so that we can push our updates into that remote place. So how we do that is now. So what we have to do is we have to create a link from our local repository to the central repository. For the central repository, we'll be calling that a remote repository. So we'll be basically calling that a remote. So now we have to add a remote to our local repository. So how we do that is, in order to add a remote, we will use the command git remote. Then we will say what we want to do. Now what I want to do at the moment is now I need to add a new remote. So what I'm going to do is git remote. I'm going to add a remote. Now a single repository can actually have multiple remotes. There's a question. What is .env file? Is it .gitignore? No, it is not. I will come back to that. Just ignore that for now. Okay. Now, okay. Now I'm going to add the remote repository. So now I git remote add. Now a single local repository can have multiple remote repositories. There can be such scenarios. So in there, what we need to do is now we need to differentiate between those two remote repositories. So in order to do that, we have to have unique names for those two remote repositories. So now there's a certain standard for the initial one. We'll be using origin. This would be the default name for the origin which we are using, and there's something called a fork pattern. If you are using that fork pattern, actually you don't have to think about that, but I'm just mentioning this to you. If you are using that fork pattern, in that case, to the remote repository which you are using, you will have an origin and you will have another remote. For that, we usually will be using the name upstream. Now, those are not like mandatory to use this as origin. This is just the practice. This is just the default one. Usually we name this as origin, but it doesn't have to be origin. I can even just name Mahesh. I can even name this as Mahesh. That is not a problem, but as a practice, we name this as origin. So git remote add origin. Then we are going to paste the link, which, okay, wait, I haven't copied. Git remote add origin. Then I'm going to add the URL, which I got from there, like this. Now I have added this one. So in order to see whether I have added this remote, what you can do is just type git remote. Then it will show what are the remotes which you have in your connected to your local repository. And if you need to see the link as well, use this -v flag. Then it will show there's a remote called origin, and this is the link which you are using to fetch, and from origin this is the link which you are going to push. So it's the same link, but that's how it works. Okay, now you have the remote repository connected to this. Yes, yeah, go ahead.
How do you get the link to the repository?
You just now you created the repository, right?
Yeah.
Then go inside that.
Okay.
Then you get a screen like this. You have it?
But there is no copy. There is no clipboard icon.
Okay, then just copy it like this. Okay, you are getting this same screen, right? Or is it a different one?
It's a different one.
It's a different one. So I believe you are getting something like this.
No, not that even.
No, not that one. Yeah, I know. Wait, give me a second. You are getting something like this, right? Not many files,
No,
but something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case,
Yeah,
click on this code, and in HTTPS you have the link, and copy it from here.
Okay, I got it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, others should get something like this. If not, it should be the other one. Either way, you can get the link. Then you just have to go here, type on git remote, add your remote name in here, origin, then add the link, press enter, then your remote is there. All right, is everyone with me? Are there any questions? No, right? Cool. If there are any questions, please. Yeah.
In that forking pattern, do we need to add the remote? Sorry for the background noise.
That's all right.
Do we need to replace that origin to upstream in adding the remote?
No, in that case, there will be two remotes. There will be an origin, there will be an upstream as well.
Yeah.
Kushan, are we planning to talk about the fork pattern today?
No, Mahesh.
Okay.
So upstream in that case is the root repo. Is that so?
Yes. You already know about the forking pattern.
I have heard about that.
Yeah, good. In that case, I'll explain this to you.
Okay.
In that case, yes, the root repository will be the upstream one, and the fork which you are creating with that would be the origin. That's how it usually. Okay.
Thank you.
And others who doesn't understand it, it's totally fine. You don't have to know it. It's fine. I mean, later on you can understand that. Okay, so now everyone is good with me, right? Until this point. Cool. Okay. Now I have everything in here. So now what I need to do is now in your case, you all have already added your files. You have committed those your files. Now you just have to put those into your remote repository. Now in this case, when you are usually working on a project, there are always some files which we do not want to be in the repository, because now as an example, this .env file. Now this is a one pattern which is not the best, but I just use this in here for demonstration purposes because it's easy. Because like you can use this .env files in order to keep credentials which are used in your application. So when you're actually building it, now you don't have to understand this part. When you're building it, these credentials will be embedded into your code. Then it will be built, and then that code will be pushed into whatever your deployment environment. So in that case, we don't want to push these files which contains credentials to the repository. Okay, so in that case, what we can do is, as we learned, we can maybe add, let's say I want to add my index.js file. Actually, I can add everything in a single single command as well. I'll do it in here. Git add package.json. So I can add all these files like this. But the problem is, now when we keep on working, it's really common. It's common actually to forget that you actually have a .env file in here, and you will just go ahead and just add git add dot, and everything will be committed. Everything will be added into the staging area, and you will just commit and you will push everything, and your credentials will be in a repository, which is not a good thing, because in case now, let's say you have credentials of a AWS account, that can be a disaster, because if your AWS credentials or Azure credentials got leaked out in open internet. Okay, so in that case, there are certain files which we need to make sure that they do not go inside the remote repository. Now, another example of that would be like critical files like that, and also in Node projects. If you all have worked with Node, there's something called Node modules, which is not required to have in a remote repository, because everyone can just download it and have it. So you don't have to know about that. Now, so this directory with Node modules, that is also something which we do not want to be in our remote repository, because it will just it will have so many files with, it will be a like huge directory. It will take so much memory. We do not need to have that in the central repository. We can, because anyone can just set it up once they get hands on their hands on this Node project. So now, yeah.
Is that what it's called a dependency? Like
yes.
Node modules?
Yes.
Ah,
Node
okay.
modules are actually dependencies, so you don't have to have the we have this package now. This is a Git session, so I'm not going to go ahead with this, but you have this package.json where we have mentioned what are the required dependencies. So using that, you can actually download this with a simple command. Therefore, you don't need to put this Node modules folder into a central repository. So actually now in this case, so you understand that we actually need to make sure that this Node modules folder and the .env file does not go into the remote repository. Okay, so it's true that we can make sure that we don't add those files when we are committing, but that's something which we can actually easily forget. So it's not a good practice to do that. So instead of doing that, Git have actually come up with a pretty good solution. That's what which we call a Git ignore file. Now, okay, so now we have added it. Now you can actually remove it as well, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. So so now in order to make sure that a specific file is not added to the remote repository, what we can use is we can create one of these git ignore files. Okay, so in order to do this, what we can do is use the command touch git ignore. Now this touch command, what does it do is it is just creating a text file. So actually you don't have to use this use this command. Instead of doing that, you can just go here and create a new text file, name it .git ignore, like this. Okay, that is also an option, but make sure the extension is not .txt. Okay, but it's much easier to use touch.git ignore. Okay, once I create it, now I have that git ignore file in here. Is everyone clear on this? If there are any questions, please add that in the chat.
Yes.
And Mihiranga, I believe I have already answered your question. If it's still not clear, please please make sure that you post that in the chat. Okay. Okay. So now in here, now I need to make sure that I need to ignore this .env file and the node modules. So when we are doing that, there are there are some patterns which we can actually use to make sure that these files are there's a way that we can actually specify that these are the files which needs to be ignored. Now let's say now in here the node modules folder. Now if you actually expand the node modules file, okay, luckily we have only 2, but in a normal project there will be like several hundred, even 1,000. That is something which is really normal. That is a like really normal number of folders to be here in the node modules folder. So in here you will need to like you can't just go and like ignore every specific file. You should be able to ignore this whole node modules folder. Okay, and you need to keep in your mind, in git ignore file, each line represent a statement. Each line represent a file to be ignored. Okay, so now if I need to ignore everything in node modules, what I need to do is just add node modules like this. Okay, and all the file paths in here, all the file paths mentioned in git ignore file, they are relative from the git ignore file. Now if node modules folder was in a different folder, then in that case I will have to, now let's say node modules folder was in a folder called src, then in that case I will have to add it like this, relative to the git ignore relative to where git ignore file is. Is everyone clear on that? I guess so. If there's anything, please post that in chat. And again, I need to ignore the .env file as well, so I can add that one as well. So I will be adding these 2 files in here to make sure that they are ignored. So now let's say now I'll just go back here and tell you about some patterns which we see, which we can use in a git ignore file. Okay, sorry, I have to go down the line. Okay, here now in here, now you see that one way you can do is you can actually mention the whole path starting from where the git ignore file is, and another way which you can do is **-foo. Now what this does is, starting from where the git ignore file is, it would search in all the folders or in all the directories, looking for a directory. In this case, this is a directory because it doesn't have an extension. It will go looking for a directory called foo, and then it will ignore this whole directory. And this one, foo /*, in here what will happen is it will ignore everything in this folder foo. Now it will take this folder foo will be there, but you will not be, everything inside this folder will not be included in here. Okay, so now previously we saw, now in here, if I just let me just comment these 2 for the moment. Now for in order to have a comment in git ignore file, you can use these hashes. Now if I just add all of these files and just do a git status and see, now you can see I have everything in the node modules. I have this .env file as well, ready to be committed. Now I don't want this one. I don't want any of these things to be committed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this in my git ignore file. Let me run a git reset, and now I'm going to add, and then I'm going to again run a git status. Now you can see only these 4 files have been added to staging. Everything in node modules and our .env file has been ignored. Are we clear on this? Hopefully everyone understand what happened and why we are using git ignore file and the importance of using git ignore file. Okay, so now we have the git ignore file. Everything is ready. Now you all already have added. Now you already have added the one, and I'm going to create a commit in here. And I'm using the short version to add a commit because I don't want to add huge descriptions at this moment. So I will create a commit. Now it's committed. Now everything is in my local repository. You can see still we don't have anything in our remote repository. There's nothing because we just committed. Committed means now we have everything updated in our local repository. Nothing is yet in our remote repository. Now uh, in order to upload these changes, upload whatever we have done to the remote repository, what we are going to do is we are going to say git push. Then we are going to add the we are going to add the name of the remote in here, origin, and the branch which we are going to use. So in here our branch is master. Branching is something which Kushan will explain in the next few slides. So I will mention git push and which remote, origin, which branch, master. So I will be pushing from my local master to the origin master. So it's uploading. Okay, it's uploaded. Now if you go back here and check this, here we have a code in the master branch. Master branch is created. In our repository, we have the .git file, index.js, package.log.js, package.json, all these files. Okay, so this is how we add so this is how we add a remote repository, and this is how we will push our code and make sure that the files which we do not want to be in there is ignored. Kushan, over to you to go ahead with the branching and rest of the stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my screen again.
And also, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask or post those in the chat. And I think, Kushan, we were planning to this session was initially planned to be a 2-hour session, right?
Yeah, 2-hour session.
Yeah, I think we have already reached that time. But in case if you all are like in a hurry to go something, of course you can leave. But if not, we'll try to complete as much as possible we can.
Okay. So Mahesh told about how to upload your local code into a GitHub or anything in hosting services. So now you have now we have a sharing hosting centralized copy and also local copy. So let's say yeah, I want to get someone's code or something. So there's a GitHub and there's my friend, he had some works, so I like to use that, or I like to contribute it. So simply, let's say a group project. So you have 2 members, one group, and you both need to work on a same thing, same repository. So let's see how you're gonna do that. So first, so we have 2 terms called forking and cloning. So what is forking and what is cloning? So I will show you. So this is the repository that Mahesh created in the GitHub, and this is the file he pushed. So now we available these files. So there are 2 things I can get. So I can just clone this folder, and cloning this means I'm getting a copy of this project for my local machine. So let's say so I'm going to contribute. So now I'm going to contribute his project. So the best thing is if we are going to contribute someone projects, the best thing is to do this, the forking project. The fork means, so we are getting copy of this project to our GitHub, because then we have full control. Then we are fully free to do any experiments in the project. So when we get a fork, the changes will not affect the original one. So we can do any experiment. So the purpose of forking means, so if we one thing is if you want to contribute someone project. So let's say everyone here bug. So you see in some open source project, you can see some bug. So you like to contribute and you like to fix. So then you can fork his repository and do your changes. And then Mahesh will be talk about something called pull request PR. So we tell this author to these are the changes you done to fix this. Or someone can say, so I'm doing some project. So you see that there are some projects that you can start initially. So you don't want to start from scratch. So you can use someone's work because these are available open. So you can these work to start from there. So I'm going to show the both fork and clone. So fork means get a copy of someone projects to your repository. So when we click the fork button, you will see it will ask to where, to what account. So I have multiple accounts, that's why. So I am using this my personal account, this one. So when I click this, you can see that. So I'm got a fork from here, fork from my 499 Kelaniya Git 101. So now I'm in my account. So now I have a repository, a copy of this Kelaniya Git 101 in my profile. In my GitHub account, I got a copy of that project. So now I have a copy. So I can now do changes, upload here, push here, but this will don't affect in the Mahesh account, the Mahesh repository. So because now I am working on a copy, so we can do any experiment that's safe. So now we have a copy in our centralized place, but then I need to get this repository to local. So how we gonna do that? We click here code and we copy. You can see the clone here, and we copy this link. And after that, we go into this folder where we want to clone this project. And I'm using open git bash here. So I'm using git clone command to get the copy to the local machine. I'm paste this link. I copied from the project repository. Click. So you can see that it's cloning the project. So now you have the local copy of that project, that Kelaniya Git 101. So I'm going to inside this folder. You can see that I'm in the master branch. So now we came back to the previous. So now we have a local copy. So now we doing all the changes local. And if you know to update the host, update the centralized repository, we can push the changes as my previously show. So I will open this. Okay. So these are the files in that repository. Then, so now we have a local copy. So I think now you know the terms of fork and clone. Fork means get the copy of someone's project to your GitHub or your centralized repository, and clone means you get the copy to your local machine. So next thing is, so everyone saw that every time we create initialize a repository or clone a repository, we have this default branch called okay, not that one. Master branch. That's the default branch, master branch. But the master is the very stable. When we use the master branch for keeping the stable and the completed one. So let's say let's get a program. So in the master branch, we always keep in the working copy. Where we doing the experiment, we don't doing the upload the experiment coded because that will won't work. So that's come the branching concept. So we always have the main master branch with the working copy, and if we want to add some feature, add something, or we want to fix some bug or anything, we want to modify or do some experiment, what we do is we create a new branch. We don't work on master. So what we do is we get the same copy to a new branch. So that's the branching game. You can see that. So I'm now going to create a new feature. So myself console log index one. So let's say I'm going to add a new feature. So this is the last commit. This is the commit in the master branch. The latest commit. So I'm getting the all the copy from this commit, and I'm going to create a new branch called feature. And from here, I'm do the experiment and I add commits for that branch, not to master branch. Okay. So let's create the branch. The command is git checkout. You also previously seen that we use the checkout command to write out within this commit messages, and also we using this to create branches. Git checkout dash b, and here you give the branch name. So I'm giving here feature. So you can see that switch to new branch feature. So now we have a new branch called feature branch. So in the code, I will show you. So now it changed to master feature branch, but we have the same thing, same copy that master has. Master has. So from here, I'm going to do the changes. So let's say I'm going to add another function. Another feature, let's say I'm just copy paste, don't just I'm add another I'm updating this. So just for the demonstrations, okay, so I added a new feature, another function, and you can see that in here it says that there is some changes to these files. What are the changes? So these are the changes. So I'm gonna commit these changes. And I'm going to commit this. Okay. So why now we add a new feature for this, but so now we have the local copy. So now I locally, but we need to update the remote branch as well, because in the remote you can see that these are the branches and your latest changes are not there. So what are you going to do that? How are we going to do that is we just say and git we push these changes to origin, and we push these changes to remote branch. We use the origin and our branch name. Our newly created branch name was feature. So we can just uploading and uploaded. So you can see that the feature had pushed new changes. So now you have another, when we see the view all branches. So now you can say this uploaded the new feature branch. So we can click here to change the changes in the GitHub also. And we go to the index file here. You can see that our function is there. Okay. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so now we have a new branch feature, and we doing all changes to this branch. So that's what's called branching. So you were here in the master, and we create a new branch, and we added new changes to the branch. So the new changes in the new branch. So these are what we did. Okay, any question?
Yeah, how do we differentiate, like say there are different features being added, how do
Okay,
we differentiate between the features? Like how do we tell
different.
which one is which?
How we tell which one is which? That means I didn't got the question.
Yeah, like, okay, so if there is one feature for like a secure
Okay,
payments and there's
okay,
another feature for say login, how
okay.
do we tell which one is the login and which one is the payments one? Which
Yeah.
branch?
Okay. So you have two features. What is one is login, one is payment. So
Yeah,
you check out from master to the one branch called payment branch. Let's say. Okay. So now you open the
okay,
payment
so
branch.
it's named as payments.
You can name it as you will, but as a practice, we normally when we create the features, we add a branch for feature. Okay,
Okay, I got it.
so
Yeah.
if I'm gonna do both things, let's say I'm the one who gonna implement both the feature, payment, and the login. So if you want, you can do it in one branch, or you can just check out the master branch and create the login. So, and if everything works well, there is a process called merging that will be explained by Mahesh after this. So what we going to do is we update the master branch with the changes. So we know that the login is working. After that, we update the master branch, and we have another branch called payment. So we implement the payment. So we implement these features separately, and finally we integrate this to one branch. That's called master. Got that?
Yeah, I understand. Thanks.
Okay. So what it is, you can create, you can name the branches as you will. It's better to add branch naming that describe your feature or anything. Okay, so the another thing I want to tell you about this Git stash. So what is this Git stash? Git stash means, let's say I'm going to again, I will hurry up this. Okay, so let's say I'm at some new line. Okay, so you have now you have one changes that is not committed. So let's say I need to check out for another branch. So in here now you have two branches, no, one is branch master, one is feature, right? So when you creating this is we would git checkout dash b, that indicates that you are going to create a new branch. Okay, but if you want to transfer
Push
it,
on the phone, sorry.
if you want to go back to another branch that already created, you just use git checkout and the branch name. So I'm using this master. So I want to go to the master back. Okay, and I check. So you can see that there it's called error. The following file overwritten by checkout index. Please commit or stat changes before you switch branches. Because if you have some changes or in the current branch that is not committed, you can't switch between branch. So if you want to switch another branch, or if you want to commit that changes, or another thing called stash. Stash means you hide those changes. Let's say you are going to hide those changes. Stashing means like that. So after that, you can see that if I set git stash, you can say that these changes will be hidden. Sorry, not stash. Stash. Okay. Saved working directory index state. So it will save in somewhere in the Git, and these changes will be gone in current branch. But the changes is we have the changes. We can get back the changes. The changes is not gone. You can get the changes. There's another command for that. But for now, these changes are gone from here. So, and now we can check out for the master branch. So I'm in master now because you can see that I now changed the switch to the master branch. Okay, now I want those changes that previously. So what I'm going to do is I'm type git stash pop. Pop means please bring back my changes. And you can see that, oh, now we have we said to bring back our changes, but there is conflict. So conflict means we are going to uh, change the same file from two sides. We are do the changes for the same file in two different places. So then it will come to conflict. So now we have to resolve the conflict. How to resolve it? You can see that this is the updated stream. This is the stat changes. So this is the one in the stream, in already in stream, and this is the changes. This is the this is the change that come from the stash. We told that stash pop. We told that pop up our previous changes that previously hidden. So we can just edit from here to you can decide what to keep and what to not what to delete, or you can just click here and you can set what you want to accept. So I want to accept all incoming. All incoming means the stash ones, or you can keep the current, or you can just uh, update by manually as you wish. So then you can add to the stage those changes. So this is come as merging. This will explain by Mahesh after this. So if you got a conflict uh, before commit, you have to resolve that conflict. That's the main thing. Okay. Any questions from there? Anything you need to clarify? If anything, please ask. Mahesh, I think you can continue.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. Wait. I'll need to share my screen. Mm. So bear with us. We will try to wrap this up as soon as possible. Um, okay. You all can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So bear with us. We'll try to wrap this up as soon as possible. Like we decided that, like these are the basic stuff which one should know if they are going to work with Git. That's why we believe that we need to cover all of these things. Okay. So now the next thing is now. Kushan, you pushed your change, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
But
Maybe I'll add one from my side.
yes.
Okay, so with what we already learned, I will create a different feature branch from my side. Kushan, you created that in your fork, right?
Yeah, I'm greater than my fork. That's why Mahesh has in that branch.
Yeah. Okay, so I will create a new feature branch. And let me add a change in here as well. Quickly add a new change in here. Say greet to. Say hello world. Okay. Okay. Now we have the change. Now I'm going to add it. Uh, let me know if you can't see this. I'm going to add all the changes. So if we check, we have the index file modified, and then I'll commit this one. Add great to, and I will push these changes to my feature branch. Okay. Now this is what is that? Okay. Now this is my feature branch, and like usually when you are working, there are Git flows which we usually follow. So now what this Git flows does is those flows helps us to make sure that it's easier that like uh, we are continuing our project. We are continuing our project in a way that we get less conflicts, and it's much easier for everyone to get the updates, and we don't like ruin our main branch with buggy code. So basically, what we usually do is we will usually keep a branch for production, and we will usually have a development branch as well, and we will create separate feature branches, and then we will add a feature branch code to one of these to, let's say, our dev branch. Now in here now I have a feature branch. Now I need to add this feature branch code into my master branch. Now how we are going to do that is we have something called as a pull request. Um, yes. So now we have something called as a pull request. So now I'm going to create a pull request. So one way you can create a pull request is once like just after you push your code into a new branch, usually this notification will appear in here. But even though it's not there, you can just go into pull requests, and in here you can select new pull request, and in here you can select which branch you are going to put your code into. I'm going to put my code into master branch, and from which branch I'm going to take my code from feature branch. So basically I'm going to add the code in feature branch into master branch. So it's saying it's able to merge, so there are no conflicts. So that is good. And in down here I can see what are the changes. So I'm going to add a pull request, and I can add a title saying what does my PR have. What now in short form we call pull request a PR. Now this should mention in a subject line what does my PR what it contains, and in the description you can describe. You can take some more lines, and you can describe what you have done in here, why you have done it, and how you have done it. So I'm not going to do all that. I'll just add this one. I'll just add the function. I'll just add a headline for whatever I did, and you can see the changes in here, and I'm going to create a pull request. Now once we do that, what usually happens is now everyone who is contributing to this repository now can actually see this pull request. Now if I request Kushan, now I can ask other people to come and review my code, come and review what I have done. So now what I can do is in reviewers, already contributing into this project, then I can request one of those people to come and review my code. So what they can do is go and look into the change files, and if let's say they think that they have a question with something which I have done, or I have there is a specific place where I have not followed proper practices. So what they can do is they can add a question. Can you add a comment in here in somewhere? Just
Yeah.
go to that PR and just add a comment. So I'll just show you all how to add a comment. So what Kushan will do is he will go and see. Now he sees that this is not the best way to do this. Maybe we should do something else. So he can just click on this plus signs, and in here he can add a comment. He's thinking that it's not a good practice to use a console log. Instead of that, we should have used a proper logging mechanism. So here we can just add a comment. Can we use a proper logging service instead of console logs? Now this would be a comment which he has, and he can start a review and make sure that I will be completing this work. And so once you have started a review on a specific code, then you cannot merge that to the branch which you want to merge unless you have reviewed that, and unless you have like resolved that whatever the review have mentioned. Okay. Okay, now we have a now if you have a comment like that, now yeah, now in here see that now in the history it will show that this person have added a comment like this. Now in wait, I think it's not loaded yet.
Sorry, I'm not added the code.
Did you add, you had a comment, right? Not a
No,
review.
not in the code. No.
You
I
just
need,
added a comment. Okay.
yeah. Wait.
Give us a second. Once Kushan have
I
added.
add the comment.
Kushan, can we add that as a review?
I added the review. See?
It doesn't show me that you are sure that you added as a review.
Yes. Give me.
Okay, anyway, it's fine.
Okay.
So like since it's taking some time, so like there has to be some kind of, I don't know, let's just let's say something like that, and once we add that as a start a review, it would look like this now, since it's
Okay.
yeah, where is it? Yeah, it would look like this. So now it says that this person have added a comment like this. So now I will need to review this one. Okay, so now what I can do is I will need to look into whatever they have mentioned, and I will need to update that. And once I have updated, actually, like once they, yeah, since I am the one who created this pull request, I can't actually review. I can't actually do this properly. So I'll just delete this one. So they will add comments like this, and once they have done that, then I will need to go and look into those comments, resolve those. Then after that, what I can do is I can wait. Once I have resolved all those comments and everything, then I can merge this pull request from feature branch to master branch. I can merge this pull request. So what merging does is it will take whatever the code in here in the feature branch into the master branch. So now if I just confirm and merge this, now usually this is not done by the person who developed itself. Other people will review the code, add comments, and once it's done, then one of those people, they would probably merge your pull request. So now if I go to my code in the master branch and check the index.js file, now you see we have the new code in here in the master branch, everything updated. And also you can see that all these three files, the last commit which they have is the initial commit which I created, and the index.js file, the last commit it has is agreed to, which is the latest commit. So now it's important to have a brief idea on how actually git merge works. So can everyone see this? Okay, so it's important to understand how git merge works. Maybe you might not understand it 100%, but going forward, when you're working with that, you will understand it. So how it works is, first of all, what git merge tries to do is, it's trying to combine multiple sequences of commits into one unified history. So basically, it's trying to combine the commit history of the master branch and the feature branch together, so that we will have a unified master branch with all the updates. So how it does is, first of all, it will take the 2 pointers, which is the master branch, the branch which we are trying to merge into the tip of that branch, and the tip of the feature branch. Then it will find the common base of these two branches. Then what it does is, it will take this tip of the feature branch, it will take this commit history, and then it will add a new commit after the tip of this master branch, where it will contain what we call as a merge commit. It will add all this commit history as a new merge commit in front of this master branch, like you see in here. So this commit history is added in here as what we call a merge commit. So what these merge commits are trying to do is they are trying to automatically merge these two merge histories together, so that we have all these things in a unified in a single branch. So is everyone clear on that? Are there any questions which
Clear.
if someone if the code can't merge it into the master, actually if someone start a revive, and unless we have resolved that, we cannot actually merge that code. We need to first of all resolve that, then only we can merge that into the master branch. Yes, someone had a question, right? Or was it like, okay, are there any questions, or shall I continue? Okay, cool. So that's basically clear. Good. Okay, maybe still there are cases where you all are not that clear on, and like you all have some questions on. But if there is anything, please feel free to ask questions even after the session. It's totally fine. So basically, this is what we believe. If you, as you all are beginners to GitHub, we believe that these are the main things which you all should know in order to start working with GitHub. These are the most common scenarios which you will find when you start working with Git and GitHub. And take a note that this is not Git. I mean, this is not like now you can now like this is not 100% of Git. This is just like the tip of it. Like still there's a lot more to learn. There are more commands, there are more flags, there are so many things which you all need to learn, but this can be a good start for you all. Okay, now once you all have started working this, now we started with something. We started by talking about something called open source, right? So all these open source projects are maintained using this Git. Like most of those are actually are using like maintained using this Git version control. There are many in GitHub and in other version control systems as well. So as you all have already learned about Git, you all have a basic introduction to Git. Now something which you can do is you all can start contributing to all these open source repositories. They are everywhere. You can just go ahead and start using these open source repositories. And how we and if you have a question why you should contribute to this is one thing is to improve your knowledge, because all these open source repositories, they will like all of those repositories will have people taking care of those repositories with a very good technical knowledge. So they will be reviewing your code, they will be giving you instructions, they will be helping you to create certain features and certain so they will help you to fix certain bugs. So you can get their knowledge, you can learn from them, and then they will be reviewing your code, which would be a really nice thing to have, like mentorship of such people. And also you get the real world experience while you're at university itself, because those people, most of them, like actually all of them are actually like working in the industry, and they have been working in industry for several years. So they will not let anything less than the industry standard to be merged into their repository. So you will get that experience as well, and you will have the reputation and to show your work, since it's available in public. Because when companies are hiring, they will be looking at your GitHub profiles. So actually, if you have contributions to these public repositories, these open source repositories, that would indeed be a plus point for you. That would make your CV much more valuable, because it actually showcases that you have that specific experience. And also it's fun, and it's give you personal satisfaction, because let's say you have, let's say like some let's say that you see a feature which you built in some open source software which everyone is using. So I think you can have that personal satisfaction that I actually built this one. So there are certain programs like which you can actually participate, which related to open source. One thing is Google Summer of Code, where Google is actually paying you to do this. So there are certain organizations who like what actually happens is like Google opens Google Summer of Code, and like there are certain companies joined with this organization. There are certain organizations actually joined with this program. So they will have this open source projects, and you have to contribute to those open source projects for 3 months, and you will have mentors mentoring you throughout those 3 months, helping you to build what you build, helping you to reach your goal. And at the end of the day, after those 3 months, Google will be paying you. I can't exactly remember the amount, but it would be a lot. I think last time, with the current dollar rate, it would be somewhere. It would be around somewhere. It should probably be more than 4 lakhs. So that's a good way to earn some money. And Google Season of Docs. Now, Google Summer of Code for all these tech guys, and Google Season of Docs for anyone who's interested in documentation. Same as Google Summer of Code, but that's for documentation, mainly for documenting all these open source projects, because we all know that all of us, like the tech guys, we don't like to actually document stuff. We just want to build stuff and then leave it and go and make sure that, and we hope that the next person would understand. So that's not actually how it should work, but there should be proper documentation. So Google Season of Docs will make sure that the open source projects which doesn't have documentation will be updated with documents. Same as Google Summer of Code, there will be organizations offering these open source projects. And same as in Google Summer of Code, Google will be paying you at the end. And another one is Hacktoberfest, which is organized by DigitalOcean. So actually, it's over now. In month of October, you have to complete 4 PRs. Actually, 4 PRs for some public repository. So if you complete that, actually, then DigitalOcean will give you a package which contains a T-shirt, lots of stickers, and some of their packages as well. So that is again something which you can participate on, which would be really nice to have. And the other one is open source summits such as FOSSASIA. FOSSASIA, I think they're recent. I think still they have. Still they are calling for speakers. I think they are closing on 10th of February. Like if you are interested in speaking in one of these international open source sessions, you can of course participate in one of these conferences like FOSSASIA. You can actually easily just submit a topic with what you're going to speak on. I think there are sessions for like 30 minutes. So you just have to prepare to speak for 30 minutes, and that's they'll probably select you. Like FOSSASIA is much easier comparing to other conferences to like get selected to. So these are some of the programs which you can actually participate. And if you have any one of these in your CVs when you're actually coming to the industry, you will you will be highlighted among others. And so how we are going to start contributing is just go to GitHub and search for any repositories on your preference. Let me just show you. Wait, where is it? Okay, a minute. You can just in here you can just search for whatever you want. Let's say I want to search for Node. Okay, not in this repository or GitHub. Like you can just search for whatever you want, and there are so many open source projects which you can contribute to. And if you just go into one of these repositories, they have this thing called issues. So these are the known issues which have. So now let's say I want to contribute to this issue. I can just go here, go inside here, and just add a comment in here that I would like to contribute to this one, and they will probably assign this issue to me. Then as we already told you all, what you can do is create a fork from this repository, then implement the feature which you're implementing, then add a PR, they will review it. And if your code is good, if you have done your work properly, then they will probably merge your PR, and you will have a contribution to those open source repositories. And also they will have their communication channels. They will have Twitch, they will have Discord, they will have Slack channels. So they will have like various those communication channels. You can use those as well. Yeah, so basically that's what we have for today. So any of the questions, any questions, like if you have any questions, you can we can take those now. Um, if not, Kushan, we can go ahead. We can see like some of us will might be able to win some gifts as well. So okay,
Yes.
so before wrapping up, are there any questions? It doesn't has to be related to Git. It can be something related to joining the industry, about 99x. Okay, 5 tips to get into 99x. Uh, 5 tips to get it. Okay, actually, there are no specific tips to get into 99x. What you have is how you like. Uh, if you are ready for the industry, you are ready for the industry. So it doesn't have to be like 99x specifically. Like whatever the company which you're going to join as your as fresh graduates, make sure you know your basics right. Actually, that's all which we are checking for when you're actually joining the industry. So make sure that you know your basics right. And indeed, if you have done extra stuff, if you have now, as we told you, like if you have I'll come to that. I'll come to that. So if you have like these open source contributions, if you have participated in hackathons, and if you have like if you have projects which you have worked on, interesting ones, the research. So so there are so many. So like that. So if you have those things, of course your CV will be highlighted more. Comparing to others, so you might have a better chance, but make sure you have your basics right. Basics in sense, you need to know at least like a one programming language properly. You need to have a proper understanding on how database like now on your database courses and what you have learned, how those things are working on SQL queries and stuff, data structures. What else do we have? I can't exactly
Yes,
remember.
mainly the SQL, OOP, and the data success.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
make
those
sure somehow like you know
design
those.
patterns. Oh, yeah, there are
Yeah,
design patterns. Uh, but
those
yeah,
are plus points, but still,
plus
yeah,
points.
like you need to have those what do you call, the basics properly. And does marks and class matter? It's good if you have those, but it's not a must, as long as you have, I mean, as long as you have the knowledge properly. But like make sure you have the degree. Okay, like
Yes.
not having the degree, because because now when we were undergraduates, like we asked the like 99x came into our university, and in here we asked the same question. So what they told us was uh, like if you have good marks and grades, it shows that, and you have good marks, good grades, and you have the basics properly, it shows that you are a committed guy, that you can be committed for 4 years for a task and you can actually achieve something. So that actually says something about that guy. That's what actually they told us. So it's the same in here. So does marks and class matter? It does indeed. I mean, if you have good marks and good grades, indeed it matters. But let's say don't have you don't have like good grades and good marks. As long as you have the degree and as long as you know your basics properly, still you should be good. But it's always good to have your marks and grades properly, because that actually says a lot about you, because it shows that you're committed. It shows that you can actually do something. You can achieve something if you put your mind into it. It says a lot about you just from that itself. Because if you don't have that, then you will have to do extra stuff to show them that that I am capable. I
Yes.
think that's basically it, right?
Yes, and if you have the marks and class, and if you don't have the basics, that's a problem.
That's again a problem. Yeah, you need to have the basics properly. So just the class and marks will not also help. And okay, as a first year, what kind of repos can I contribute? What I suggest is there's something called good for beginners. Yeah, go to GitHub and search for labels. There's something for good for beginners. I can't actually remember the one. Oh, good for, or like first time learners or something. There's a label like that. No. there's like as you all are beginners, you all can let's go to this issue and see. They don't have it. So like there's a specific label for that. I can't exactly remember that. So if you search GitHub with that, it will show you the issues. It will show you the issues which has I think it's beginner friendly. I'm not exactly sure. Kushan,
Yes, I'm trying to find. I also not.
I actually like issues. Yeah. I think it's beginner friendly. See, like no, this doesn't have that label, but still. Yeah, so like that you can just search and find, and there are so many websites which actually give which actually like list down most of those uh, repositories where you can start working on. Like just Google search for that, and that's where I started as well. And can I have little guideline to getting into machine learning? Kushan, I think you are much more suited to answer that question.
Little guideline to getting into the machine learning. Okay. Do you course module have anything module that related to machine learning? It's Nadun, right?
Nadun, yeah.
Yeah. So, so basically, when you need a guideline to get in machine learning, so machine learning is more than a programming language. So that's we are called some statistical thinkings also. So actually, there is no specific guidelines to getting into machine learning. You all will there are some machine learning algorithms, the basic ones. There are, or you can search that there are some basic machine learning ones. Yeah, self-learning. Good. So you can use the for the self-learning, you can use the Python like or TensorFlow, anything. And there are some basic machine learning algorithms. The basic ones just have one layer and input and output. So start with that. So learn how this model working. So everyone knows there is some inputs, and when we do the inputs to the model, we got output. But learn what is the what's happening inside that. So what's the algorithms? What's the way of running this? So then you can understand the model, and then by first learn the basics ones. Then after you learn the basics ones, you can go to the advanced ones. So actually, there's no guideline to get in machine learning. I'm already every time I'm saying that getting started with the basics. So machine learning also as the programming language, machine learning also have the basics. So you need to learn basics, then you can getting into the advanced concepts. Yeah, and is there any position for DevSecOps in 910X?
There are like few coming. Like actually, we don't have any for new. I think we don't have any for new new people. What we have is like like sometimes we get such uh, vacancies at 99x, but most of the time they are looking for experienced people. But at the moment, I don't see we are hiring fresh graduates as DevSecOps, right, Kushan?
Yes.
And I
And
think like related to this, sorry, Kushan, like someone asked, does 99x hire computer security graduates? Yes, but we only have like very few vacancies, as I know, because
yes, very few. And yeah.
And also, I'll add something to what Kushan said. It's really good that you are learning these things by yourself, and it's really tempting to like all these neural networks, convolutional neural networks, this and that. All these are really tempting to like you actually need to go there and start trying those. But neural networks is something which can actually wait. As Kushan mentioned, start from the basics, know your basics properly, then go to those concepts. Like it would be nothing.
Yeah, and one asked that C# in my uni, but I learned outside the uni. how I can tell my interviewer this? I know a C sharp. You can put that in your CV, but when you put that in your CV, and when you telling you know C sharp, make sure to know how much, because everyone you don't know exactly very good about C sharp. So when the interviewer says rate the knowledge of C sharp, you should rate about I think let's say 10 out of. So if you know 10 out of 6, you can say 10 out of 6. Then interviewer will ask question from C sharp. And if you say that I know 10 of 9, then you are very good about C sharp. Then you must know everything in C sharp, because if interviewer asks something and you failed, then that's
Then
the
yeah, then like, because you must not overrate yourself. Like,
yes.
I mean, it's good that you know C sharp, and in your interview, most of the times interviewers will ask, what is your preferred language for this, and you can say that C sharp is my preferred language for the interview. And if they ask to review, do not overrate yourself. Make sure that you hit the proper number, because if you overrate, and then, like, let's say you said 9 to impress the interviewer will be impressed, but he will start asking question on that level. uh, can you what are the web frameworks were to learn in these days? uh, Web frameworks to learn in these days,
Hmm.
again, depends. Like, there are many trending web frameworks. We have .NET, uh, what is .NET Core, right? We have
Yeah,
.NET
.NET Core.
Core, we have Node.js, we have Spring Boot, we have Django, right? I mean, that's how they call it, I think. In Python, like, all these are trending. So what's important is you know the basics of, because, like, at the end of the day, all of these things, except for the language specific, the concept is the same, because at the end of the day, that's how an API would work. That's how a web framework would support it. So make sure shit, uh, make sure sorry So make sure you know the basics, you understand the basics. As long as you do that, that should be fine. So it's not about the framework. Like, I suggest, like, whatever the language you are familiar with, most of it, like, let's say you're familiar with Java, then I suggest that maybe you can try out something like Spring Boot. If you are much more familiar with JavaScript, you can try something like Node.js. So as long as you know the basics, it should be fine. So that part was Git versus Git.
Okay, Mahesh.
Okay, yeah, but wait, there, I believe that we don't have any other questions. I think that someone have direct messaged me. I'll talk to you later on that. The person who have direct messaged me, I'll answer you that, since, like, it's taking some time. I'll talk to you later on that. Okay. Uh, is it true that we can learn more by joining an average company than a top level company during the internship? My suggestion, uh, go for the top one, because there are certain things called as standards and how those are being used, and these top companies, they follow those properly. And lower the company, like, you will have to code more. Like, you might actually, I can't say that you will have to, you might have to code more than when you're working in a top level company. But you need to understand, but you need to identify whether that exposure is the right exposure, because in your internship you need to focus on the exposure which you get. Let it be the clients, technologies, and when it comes to technologies, the best practices of it, how you handle those things. All these top companies like, have all of these things. Let it be 99x or any other company, they are following these proper practices, and they give you the right exposure. It's very important that you get that correct exposure. Therefore, actually, my opinion, my suggestion is, go for the top one, because you will be coding more you might be coding more in a smaller company, but you need to start thinking whether that exposure is the correct one. Okay, so but before taking any more questions now, I think we have some gifts to offer for you all. So
Yes.
hope you all have been here hope you all have been listening to us properly. So now in this time we cannot take answers on the chat. You will need to speak up, and one person can't answer 2 questions because we will not be giving 2 gifts to the same person. So
yeah, we have 3 gift packs.
yes.
Hope everyone wants that because
Yes.
there are,
So what you can do is, Kushan, how are we going to find those people?
yeah, once he answers correct,
No,
I
like we need there can be multiple people trying to answer the same question. So what we can do is, we'll do something like this. Once we ask the question, you all will need to unmute your mic and just. Okay, can you raise your hand in this? How are we going to do that?
no, it's
Like you will have to speak up and say that you know the answer. Okay, then
no,
we will ask from
you
you.
can raise
Then
the hand from the reactions tab. You have the raise hand. You can say that in the tab of the buttons there are the reactions.
where is it?
There's a button called reactions. After
There.
the you have the chat share screen.